welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kylie and I'm so happy that you guys are here today. This is another episode of Movie Monday where I sit down and I critically assess films and discuss them with you guys. So, that being said, I'm going to list the criteria here that I use to discuss the films, and I'm just not going to waste any time. Let's just get right into it. Alright guys, so for today's Movie Monday, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies. It was on my favorite movies of all times list that I just uploaded last week, or 2 weeks ago now, I think. So if you haven't seen that movie, go watch that one. It's kind of a long one, but it's also really good. So, that being said, today we're talking about Fight Club. Like I said, I love Fight Club so much, but I'm going to discuss it with you guys today because it's a movie that I know, and I feel like not enough people have seen this movie, and I just want to talk about it with you guys. Is that so wrong? Okay. To start off, I'm going to do a quick synopsis of the film Fight Club. I am not going to do any spoilers in this, just so you guys can watch this without having seen Fight Club. And I also think that it really sucks when something's spoiled for you and you've not seen it or experienced it for yourself. So, Fight Club is about a depressed insomniac who is played by Edward Norton, and he meets a strange soap salesman named Tyler Durden, who is played by Brad Pitt, and he soon finds him living in this really run-down, abandoned house with Tyler after his apartment is mysteriously destroyed, and they start fight clubs, which is what the title is, and they start these underground fight clubs, and they become this huge franchise based on kind of tearing down consumerism, and it becomes this big thing that the main character, Edward Norton, was not prepared for, and it kind of falls out of his hands, and he's kind of left in the dark with what's going on. And this whole thing is kind of tied together by a girl named Marla, who is played by Helena Bonham Carter. She does so good in this movie. That's just a side note, but so do actually everybody does, so whatever. But yeah, the movie is ended with a twist that I did not see coming at all. I really don't know how anyone could. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who are like, oh yeah, I saw it coming, but like, did you really though? Like, there's nothing leading up to it that would make you think, whatever. Okay, so that is a synopsis of Fight Club. It came out in 1999, 2.5 hours long, but it's worth every minute of it in my opinion. So, we are going to get into my criteria now, starting off with story. The story of Fight Club is honestly really unique, and that's why I really wanted to talk about it with you guys today, because it's just, like I said, there's a twist at the end, but it is just told in such a entertaining way that keeps you so enthralled in the story from like the moment you enter the film. There are times in this movie where you do not know what's going on, but at the same time you're not like so confused that it takes you out of the story. Like, you're confused when the main character is confused, and I think that that's really cool when a story is told in such a good way where you kind of connect with the main character. So I really like that. I also like how the story is told. It uses narration, which is so cliche, but also I think that they use the narration in a really, it just works for this movie. It's not unnecessary, and it helps you to really get to know the main character. The main character doesn't have a name, so it's played by Edward Norton, so I might say Edward Norton, I might say main character, but he doesn't really have a name in the film. Another thing I really like about this film is how they mix drama and like thriller type stuff with comedy. I don't know if I would say there's more of one or the other, because they're pretty equal. The main character, he seems really relatable, really just a lot of his dialogue is just so well written, and it's so funny to me, because it just seems so natural, and he has this really like sarcastic view on life, and it's really, really fun to see him play that out in the film. There's so much more I could say about the story, but that would include ruining the ending for you guys, and I'm just not here for that. So, that is all I have for story. I know that was like a short discussion on the story, but I think it's just such a unique story, and the way it's told is so different, and it really drew my attention, and that's why it's one of my favorite films right now. So my score that I'm doing for story is 9 out of 10, which is a pretty high rating, but considering it has an ending that I couldn't see coming, and it just made the film so much better. And it's one of those films where you watch it the first time and you see it through, and then you see the ending, and that completely changes how you watch it the second time. And I love when films do that, because it makes it so fun. Like, you want to watch it again. You want to see the things leading up to the ending that you now know is coming. And I think that is a really cool way to tell a story. I really like that. So I'm giving story a 9 out of 10. Moving on to score. The score in this movie, there's not really much to it. They're not really relying on music as a thematic element in this movie, unless you're talking about the end, because obviously there's the Pixie song at the end, Where Is My Mind, which I don't know for sure if it was written for the film or if it was just made famous by the film, but that is definitely way more well known now because of Fight Club. And that's really the only piece of score that stands out to me. There's not, like I said, not a lot of music in the film or soundtrack. And so there's only a couple like spots in the film where I can pinpoint like remember hearing actual music. A lot of the sound elements in the film are more like sound effects that are more heightened, so you notice them more. Like in, let's say, for example, in the beginning, the narrator, the main character, he starts going to a bunch of group therapy sessions because it helps him sleep at night, because like I said, he has insomnia. So he starts doing that, but there are so many different, when he goes to each different meeting, the atmosphere of that you can hear is really noticeable. So you can hear people talking, people crying, coffee being poured, people eating, you know, different things, and it actually stands out in a way that like most films don't do, because it's just like background noise, it's atmosphere, it's not like soundtrack. But I think this film really plays into the sound effect and atmospheric elements of making a soundtrack and making the score elements. So I'm giving score a 7 out of 10 because, like I said, there's not much to it. There's not much that I can discuss with you guys. So, but there is the famous Where Is My Mind song. That is just, like, so many people know. And if you've seen Fight Club, then that song just reminds you of that movie. So, 7 out of 10 for score. Solid, but could have been a little better. Moving on to cinematic elements. I love the cinematics of this film, and honestly I think it helps make it what it is. Well, that happens with every movie, but this one is just so much more noticeable to me. Even when the story is so different and out there and keeps you on your toes, you still have beautiful images that you are looking at on the screen. This film really uses darkness to its advantage. There are so many, it's not undersaturated or underexposed by any means, but on the other hand, you have such low lit scenes, but it still works for the film. Like, it looks so good. You have the use of, you have those dim fluorescent lights when you're in the main character's office where he works at. It makes it just look such a dreary place to be, which is so good for conveying the main character's message that he hates his job. At the end, you have this beautiful blue lighting coming from the top of the skyscrapers, and you have the silhouettes of Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter holding hands, which is such an iconic scene from that movie. Like, I guarantee if you Google Fight Club, that it will be one of the main images that you see on Google, because it's just such a beautiful shot. And you have this whole yellowy greenish kind of look to the film, and I think it just makes it that much more like the main character's life is so dull and so boring, and that's definitely a main point to the film. And so I think they really use the lighting and the exposure to really put forth that point, and I love when films just tie everything together. It's so good. The only thing I will say, and I have to be careful about how I say this because I don't want to ruin the ending, obviously, but I think with the ending, there's so much more that I personally wish I could have seen. And when it comes to like their effects that they used, or you know, if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they could have gone so much more in depth with someone being there who's really not. I can say that. That isn't really, that's good. But I think that's the only downfall I see for the movie, or not downfall, because it works really well the way it is. I would say it's more of a missed opportunity on their part, but it was 1999. The technology was nowhere near what we have now. That is all I have for cinematic elements. I'm giving cinematic elements a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I love the look of this film. Every shot, every scene is composed in such an amazing way, and they really use lighting and basically everything to convey their message, and I really enjoy it. So that is all I have for talking about Fight Club. I don't want to say that. So that is my review and discussion of Fight Club. My overall score for Fight Club is, drumroll, 8.5 out of 10, which is a pretty high rating, as are most of the movies I've reviewed so far. But that makes sense because I personally love this movie, love all the movies that I've reviewed so far. If you have a movie that you want me to review, please leave it in a comment down below and I will be sure to do that. I'm always looking for new films to watch. I've been watching so many new things this month, and I'm really glad that I can just have the opportunity to branch out and watch so many different films. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe down below, all the YouTube things, and I will see you guys in the next Movie Monday. Bye.